me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
You get the opportunity to lead and to build yourself as an individual, I think, better than any industry on earth. You get the opportunity to lead, you get the opportunity to fail, you get the opportunity to work with real people, make a difference in your community, leave a legacy, and it's from day one on the job. It's the best place to build yourself as a person, to build yourself as a leader, to build yourself as a team member. You're not going to have to wait till you retire and you've made all your money to give back and make a difference and leave a legacy and impact people.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. We're thrilled to share some big updates for our incredible Parks and Rec community. We've passed our 200th episode and received a massive outpouring of support. Get ready for new shows focused on critical areas like urban forestry, master planning, and technology, reflecting the recent shift to interest-based media. We're also introducing replays of our best past episodes at 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week, so you can catch up on valuable insights anytime. Plus, we're continuously iterating on our show promos, including fresh new looks for youth sports mastery and facilities maintenance. We're building DPRS Media Co. to be the ESPN for Parks and Recreation, uplifting the professionals who serve our communities every day. But here's the hook. Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities and amplify your impact in the $200 billion Parks and Rec industry? Partner with us and put your brand directly in the story, because your audience is already here, waiting to meet you.
Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. We had a little technical glitch. I think we had somebody scheduled for today, but our little Calendly app somehow deleted our next two events. So you got me today for the Daily Parks and Rec Show Leadership Series, but this is a great opportunity for me to share a couple of promotions that we have, and then also I have, hold on one second. I have a commercial working with sponsors. So we've been getting a lot of requests about partnering with sponsorships. And when I say partner, it's different than like, partnering with vendors that work in this industry. So we've got a sponsorship. You know what? Let me go ahead and play the promos so that people that are new to the show know what this is about, and I'll be right back.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co. LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.
All right, I'm also going to play my big thank you to everyone that got us past our 200th episode. We've had a lot of great contributors. Some of the best people in Parks and Recreation have come on the Daily Parks and Rec Show and shared their story, their passion, their why. their expertise in certain fields of Parks and Recreation, and we definitely could not have done it without them. The show really is for the people of Parks and Recreation. And, without the people coming up and sharing their stories with us, we wouldn't have a show. Or it'd just be me up here talking about Parks and Rec, which y'all probably wouldn't like. So anyway, we did create a 200th episode thank you to everyone, which I love. And so I'm going to play it a few more times, probably, to the end of the week, because I really am full of gratitude, grateful for everything that everyone's done and showed us with support and love. So here we go.
From a simple mic in a rec center to a full-scale media company for the people who power our parks. 200 real stories, 5 original shows, and more to come, with one powerful mission: to lift up the voices of Parks and Rec professionals across the country. From maintenance crews and young interns and youths who love sports, to directors and public servants making a difference. We've built a platform that honors the unsung heroes behind every clean trail, every weekend tournament, every safe, welcoming park. This milestone isn't just about the content, it's about the people, the passion, the purpose. To every guest, listener, and supporter, thank you. The next chapter starts today. This is DPRS Media Co. Media for public service.
All right, man, that one gets me fired up every time I watch it, to see what we've accomplished in such a short period of time. I really wish and look, one day I am going to bring the entire team together. We're scattered all over the planet, all over America, working together remotely to build this out. And so I really want to get them to the national convention so that they can meet the people that they're serving and building this for. So shout out to Chris, Kathleen, Hannah, Sherry, Suzanne, Randy, and all the people that have come on the show, especially the ones that have come on multiple times. I'm thinking of Garrett James, Joseph, Daniel came on a few days ago. Sevi Ghosh, and there's really too many people to even thank, but there's been such an outpouring of love and support for the work that we're doing here, and it really encourages us to keep going. If anything, it tells us that we're going in the right direction, that we're really digging deep into finding. And shout out to all my YPN people. Molly Keys has just been instrumental in everything she's doing, leading the YPN network for the nation. Gabby Vera, a lot of others that are working on that YPN. So still pushing on that show. But something specific I want to talk about today. So up till now, I have kind of been personally funding all of this through my Bitcoin stack. For those of you not into Bitcoin, y'all know I'm a huge Bitcoiner. I love it. If you haven't gotten into it, please reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you. It is a little scary because it's like learning math. If you don't like math or calculus or accounting, it's finances. And so it does take a little bit of a educational leap to really comprehend it. But anyway, not to make this all about that. And so I have had a lot of people, and you've seen some of them come on and just we'll do an exclusive interview with a vendor that just wants to say his message about his company, what he does, his brand, his services, so forth and so on. But as you've seen with the Youth Sports Mastery, it's me and Aaron. We're just like a match made in heaven. Shout out to my brother, Aaron Locks over in California, 40 years of experience in youth sports. We got together one day. We just met randomly in this chaos of building a media company. And we decided to partner and to create a show just dedicated to youth sports. Now, of course, he has a business in youth sports where he franchises and helps take over some of the programming for Parks and Rec departments, stuff that they don't want. Let's say they're running a magnificent baseball league with coaches and volunteers, very well structured. And, anybody that wants to play baseball is definitely included. It's just rocking and rolling. But then you look over at volleyball and they're doing nothing, or they just can't find a good coach, or they want to do pickleball, but they have the facilities, but they just don't have the mastery around it. And so in come Aaron and his company, he will pick up whatever sports you want and run them for you, and provide the coaches and all the format, and does a great job, does this nationwide. And he is more on the sports side of including all little athletes, all people in rec sports. Even though you most likely will be horrible at baseball, you still want your child to play baseball to learn how to use their little body, learn how to run, learn how to play as a team, learn how to pass the ball, hit the racket. I mean, use the racket to hit the ball. And we want our entire community to have access to that. It's kind of like working out is for everybody. Walk-ins for everybody. Yoga is for everybody. Tennis is for everybody. It's not just for those that, are, you know, super tall and maybe very gifted at basketball. It's for everyone. And that's kind of I felt the same way about sports, and when I was growing up in sports. And so partnering with him just made a lot of sense. And we didn't know what direction it was going to go. We just said, let's just start, help me pay to kind of promote that. And we came up with a little agreement, and me and him just threw our energy at it. And I love that show. And he runs the whole thing. We do all the back end promotion and making the logos and doing all the final edits and making all the shorts and all that kind of stuff. But he gets these guests that he has just a 40-year network of in youth sports. And I loved it. And out of that was kind of born the concept of, there are many very specific parts of Park and Rec. Look at how different, say, urban forestry and youth sports is, both under the umbrella of Parks and Recreation. But you can do 50 years in urban forestry, and that doesn't prepare you at all to run a great baseball league in a Parks and Rec community. And that's just one of many. And so let's take another one that's kind of like a standalone, say, master planning. So you could be the greatest coach on earth that really runs a solid community league of 8 teams for baseball, or you could be a great master arborist. Does that really prepare you to put together 10-year strategic master plan that's $100 million and is going to update your facilities, build a few new ones, maybe close a few to try to tighten the budget, do things well. So master planning is a thing in of its own. And yesterday, if you saw, shout out to Daniel Schaefer, just graduated, got his certificate to be an official project manager for his Parks and Rec department. And you kind of see those levels of expertise that are so different from one another. And another great example is who we also had on yesterday, which was it Megan? Megan, I do not want to mispronounce your name because you are such an all-star. So let me just scroll back up. She is our 30 under 30 last year. Yes, it was Megan from North Carolina. She's just one of our rising stars. And we talked all about marketing and communicating and storytelling. And she did this full time for the Parks and Rec department. Then you've got special events and the concept of having a different show to make sure we honor and go deep into each of these fields that thrive and are part of what makes a Parks and Rec department. And you can just go down the list: special events, therapeutic recreation, aquatics, software and technology, all the, maintaining golf courses. And so as we're wanting to build out the ESPN, just as ESPN is to sports, we want to build DPRS Media Company to Parks and Recreation. We realized that we were going to have to really get experts in each of those, similar to what you see happening in the Youth Sports Mastery Thursday show at 1:30 with Aaron Locks. And so it was a little different than, say, a vendor that sells, park benches coming on and saying, here's our park bench. This is why it's great. This is why it lasts forever. This is what you want to consider with a park bench, whatever. That's more or less just selling a single product. But what about those things like master planning, where you really need to hire a full-on consultant company that's going to spend a year with you putting together a 50, $100 million 10-year master plan that you can, it's just your roadmap, helps you understand who you are, what's the state of the union, what's the state of all your facilities, where are you going, how are you going to pay for it, getting all the feedback. It's a massive process. And to really do it well, you probably want to do a monthly show just on master planning and call it the, master planning in Parks and Rec show that we do monthly or weekly. And we know that there are solid consulting companies and vendors out there that could help us produce, help pay for, and help provide the mastery around that given topic. And so I knew I had to get past phase one, which was just start. I did not know, I just knew this industry did not have a media company like an ESPN. This is what I saw when I was in Bitcoin and I went to the national convention. I was one of 42 media companies producing content on Bitcoin. And kind of in retirement, I was like, number one, Bitcoin was well covered. There were people producing unbelievable content that kind of mentored me in producing content, telling stories, using all the softwares and the AI tools that were at our fingertips to be able to produce content and then distributing it across all these social media platforms. But then I'm looking back at this industry that has been so good to me and that has fed me and my family for decades. And like, you know what? They need someone to get in there and just roll up their sleeves and just build something for this industry. And so that was phase one. Just start, figure it out. Let's just launch. Let's go. And we did it. And that got us kind of to around the 100th episode. And then I'm like, okay, now let's really start to reach out. And a lot of those early episodes was just me talking just like I'm doing now, saying, here's our intentions. Let's get feedback. Let's get a few guests. Let's kind of get the ball rolling. A lot of my early questions. I mean, I've spoken to well over 400 Parks and Rec professionals nationwide, a lot of directors across the country, nearly in every state in America, and just asking for feedback. What are we missing? What are the underserved populations? Where would you like to see this go? And that first starting stage gave birth to Youth Sports Mastery, gave birth to the Facilities Maintenance Show, gave birth to the Young Professionals Network. Never heard of that. I know for y'all, they were like, duh, Youth Sports. Young Professionals Network been around for 7 or 8, 9 years. But I wasn't aware of it. And as a former vendor in this community, I wasn't aware of all the things about Parks and Rec. I had no idea that urban forestry was even a department of Parks and Recreation and what that meant. And so we're in conversations right now with some great vendors in urban forestry to create a monthly or a weekly show just on urban forestry. Now, they have the master arborists. I'm sure we can find some great vendors that sell bucket trucks and chippers and saws and would love to help promote that show because this is where they do business. Same thing with Aaron Locks, does business in youth sports, produce a show there. And so, that kind of launched. So then we launched the other 4 shows plus the newsletter that you see today. And now just roll through all the logos. So we have, let's see, this is the Youth Sports Mastery. This was our leadership series logo, but it's now changed to this. This is our parent company logo. And this is our YPN logo. So every Friday we do a show just on the Young Professionals Network. And then, of course, this is my favorite. Y'all know I'm a master electrician. That's been my trade. I grew up in it. Now, when I was a baby, my father was an electrician. My uncles were electricians, everybody around me. So I have a special spot in my heart for those men and women that work with their hands to just maintain these facilities. Then I ran into these boys. Oh my gosh, I love this crowd. The Rec Room, met JP, Thomas, Brian, KP, who am I forgetting? Katrina. I apologize if I'm Miss Donna. And the list goes on and on because we've had, I don't know, we're probably up to 10, 15 people that Thomas and the crowd and JP has gotten me in touch with. So the Rec Room is a park system that was so proud of the work they're done. they are doing and the mission that they have, that they're like, we got to tell the story of what we're doing so people can see the power of Parks and Rec and what it does for a community. And they tried to do a podcast, but they weren't podcasters. They didn't dive deep into media companies. They don't have videographers and sound engineers and social media managers on staff like we do, or like that we got in the first 100 episodes. And when I ran into them, I said, I'll help you produce it. I'll fund it myself and I'll figure out a way to get a sponsor for it. And now it's matured to the point to where they have vendors that want to see that one standalone monthly show, second Wednesdays of every month, succeed. They do business with Henry County, and it looks like probably in the next couple of months that show will be fully funded. So even though we kind of provided that capital up front to launch it, get it going, I'll host it, I'll do it. So anyway, that got us to our 200th episode. And now we're ready to launch another group of shows on all of these other topics. And I asked Chris, one of our very talented video editors, to create now this is version 1, so bear with us. We have a little promo for those who would like to partner with us on a specific topic in Parks and Rec to create a monthly, a twice a month, or a monthly show on a given topic that's very unique to Parks and Recreation, just like the shows I'm talking about. Now, one of the shows that I'm really pushing because of my Bitcoin and a lot of my other technologies that I was curious about and invested in, I knew that software and technology and AI are going to be huge players in helping the park systems find really efficient ways to deliver the same services, to expand the bandwidth, the manpower, and stretch out those rare dollars that they're given to by the taxpayers in their communities. And so I really want to create a show around technology in Parks and Recreation, software in Parks and Recreation. And I'm currently in discussion with a few very good software companies that are going to help me produce a weekly or a monthly show around technology. And then we're probably, let's see, urban forestry, master planning, technology and Parks and Rec, software and Parks and Rec. Those are the ones that are kind of top of mind right now. But I know there's going to be others. And so I told Chris, I said, make me somewhat of a promo to just, if you're a director right now and you're listening, if you have a vendor that you are super pleased with that is a national vendor and does a great job and you've been working with them for years, please help me connect with them and just offer, would you like to help me produce a show specific to the part of the Parks and Rec industry that you work in? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and roll this, and we've already got a lot of other critiques and additions we're going to make to this promo. So this promo as it is, I don't think it's going to last to the end of the week before we start making, but you get the general gist of it. So I wanted to give you all a sneak peek as to kind of what we're thinking, where we're going as I'm having this conversation. I wanted to open it up to the nation of vendors that serve the Parks and Rec community right now. Let's start those discussions. I'm in many discussions already, and I want to make sure everybody gets included in that. If you want to help me build a media company to help tell the story and uplift the Parks and Rec community, hit me up on LinkedIn. Let's get this going. Let's have a conversation. So without further ado, let me play this little commercial and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about it.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co, we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.
Man, what a hell of a first draft that is. I kind of put together a little explanation of what I wanted. I gave it to Chris on Monday. He sent that to me yesterday. I'm playing it today. We'll probably make some additions and do kind of a final cut for version 1 on that. But I'm just blown away by how talented our content creators are. And so I just want you to know it's not purely about the money. I am not even pretending to be a master of master planning for a city. The level of expertise brought to bear on producing a high quality, many times $50 to $100 to $200,000 master plan for a city that takes a year long to make is a heavy lift. It takes years of experience to do. And so even if I had unlimited funds to produce a high quality show in master planning, I don't have the talent. I don't have the know-how. I don't have the wisdom. I don't have the expertise. But there are companies out there that do a fantastic job of helping cities produce master plans. And I would love to make a show all about that so that cities can come in and kind of get the ball rolling and get understanding and maybe even pick from a couple of the companies that helped me build the master planning show for Parks and Recreation. And so having these strategic partners that want to see this built it's a make or break deal. I have to have them. That's not something I can do. And it doesn't matter how great our content creators are. It doesn't matter how much I, talk to people who make master plans or I talk to a director that has a really good master plan. I'm not going to be able to produce a show that has great clarity and depth on the topic of master planning. And so I really do need strategic partners in a lot of these topics. Another great one is urban forestry. Just after talking to about 9 different master arborists, I am humbled by the knowledge they have about trees in public spaces and irrigation and choosing the sites and how to care for and maintain these massive urban forests that are scattered throughout our cities that the Parks and Rec departments have to maintain. And so I really do need strategic partners that will help us produce this show. And then now we can do all the video editing, sound engineering, distribution, creating of the content, the logos, the shorts, the newsletters. Like we can do a lot of that, but it's kind of like if you hire an artist to come to your home and paint your family, they can bring the canvas and they can bring the brushes and the colors, but you've got to provide the family. And so that's kind of what we're looking for is strategic partners to help us co-create the next batch of shows that are going to come up in, probably take us from episode 200 to maybe 300, 400, for the rest of the year. And hopefully we can have another good half a dozen, maybe dozen shows and really expand this out so that it's really useful to the Parks and Rec community. We can create a solid content library on each of these subject matters. And so anyway, that's kind of what we're looking for. As I said before, I'm probably in 24 to 30 discussions right now with different playground companies, robotics companies that make these fully autonomous sprayers and robots and lawn mowers and stuff like that. And so we're right in the middle of it. So as I said before, if you are a Parks and Rec department that is super pleased with a vendor, please help me get in touch with them and let me see if they're interested in helping us to create a real quality program for DPRS Media Company, the family of shows. And we'll start building it just like you've seen us build all the other stuff. And I think in a short period of time, we're going to have something super special. And now, what am I seeing? You may not you may be seeing this transition. So we had the birth of what's called social media. Facebook is obviously one of the first big ones where we socialize on the internet. We put our family pictures, our vacations, maybe tell a little bit about what's going on, a little bit about work, and then of course LinkedIn came on the scene, and now kind of with the social stuff, but more for business. Um, but then, we started having these what are called content creators. This is the age of the content creators, and so for the last, I don't know, 5, 10 years, you start to see these standalone YouTube channels that talk about, I can tell you one I've always watched is What About It, which is a show dedicated to just space travel, SpaceX, Blue Origin, all things, getting humanity to outer space, to Mars, to the moon, to the stars, satellites, stuff like that. And as a child, I was always very interested in this. And so, fast forward to in the last 4 or 5 years, I watch daily 3 or 4 YouTube channels. This is all they talk about. And so, when it comes to space travel, I am probably up to date more than most because I consume the content of some of about 4 or 5 content creators that have dedicated their life to just covering the topic of space travel. Then, when I started to create my own show, the Daily Bitcoin show, and the Daily Bitcoin podcast, I was the same thing, just all about Bitcoin and what it's going to do for the world and stuff. And so this has been a shift from social media to interest media. Now, when I made my Bitcoin show, um, I got it up to close to 20,000 daily listeners was like its peak. But man, I was a daily show I did for 2 hours, for a little over a year, almost 2 years. And it was from 7 to 9 Eastern every day, Saturday, Sundays, my birthday, holidays. I didn't miss a day. And I became part of people's morning routine. They would literally make their coffee, put my show playing in the background because they were like me, they were very interested in the topic of Bitcoin. And so this has been a shift to what we call now we consume our content. You only got 24 hours a day to consume content. You're not going to get more than 24 hours. And so when I was little, my parents used to just flip on the news and they would just watch, the weather that came on at 5 and at 6 and politics and whatever. And it was more or less just general news. But now with the way that we can create content as a species with all this social media and all these tools at our disposal, somebody like myself can create an entire show standalone that just talks about one subject. And I can also watch shows that are focused on my interests. And so giving y'all kind of the context and background of how the Daily Parks and Rec show came into existence, it was noticing that interest media is where we are today. And this has been a very recent shift. I don't know if it was coined by Gary Vaynerchuk, a kind of online mentor of mine. Shout out to Gary Vee. He's just been a great entrepreneur that I've followed for a long time. Wrote a book called Crush It. And this is where I first heard it from him that we've now shifted to interest media. And so it was at the Bitcoin conference in 2024 in Nashville where I'm hitting up all my people in Parks and Rec saying, guys, we need to create a media company for parks and recreation, just like I'm seeing all this Bitcoin media companies left and right. There were 42 media companies over there in Nashville just creating content on the subject matter of Bitcoin. And then I look, and they're only 16 years old as an industry. It started in 2008 when Satoshi Nakamoto made Bitcoin, unleashed it. And for the first 4 or 5 years, it was just nobody even knew what it was. God, don't we all wish we would have bought Bitcoin back in 2009, 10, and 11 when it was a couple dollars or $5, $10 a token. By the way, it's not too late to get in. But what we're starting to see is entire media companies being born around industries and topics. And shout out to my buddy, my friend. I love you so much, Shonda Smith. If you don't know Shonda Smith, she is just a little angel in Mobile, Alabama. She was a powerhouse Parks and Rec director, one of the first Parks and Rec director that I ever met personally. So it's been a long time ago that we met, and told her about my idea, and she just encouraged me to kind of um, to do this. And so, if you like or dislike this show, blame Shonda. He was the motivating kind of spark that just and if you know Shonda and she'll tell you something like, Craig, you need to do this for our community. And I was kind of halfway retired and was reluctant, but I'm not good at retirement. So thank you, Shonda, for inspiring me and kicking me off the ledge. I'm not even sure if she knows the few words she told me truly inspired me to do this. And it was out of my love for the work that she did and how passionate she was about Parks and Recreation, along with all the other directors that I've been close friends with. That I said, you know what, somebody needs to do this for them, and I'm not doing much else. And Bitcoin's solid; they're good. They got all the content creators you can take a stick at. But here we are, a trillions of dollars of assets under management, some of the most beautiful parks, green spaces, facilities running programs that affect our children, our elderly, those less fortunate, our handicapped. They're doing some of the best work on earth, and doing it at scale, hundreds of years old. And there's not even that I could find one media company like I saw in Nashville in the Bitcoin community. And so that's kind of where all this kind of came from. And and so I just wanted y'all to know that there's quite a shift that I don't think is ever going to go away. And so where are we at today with this? So today, fast forward to our 212th episode. Um, we have got people that are incentivizing their staff to watch the daily Parks and Rec show all across America, because it's their people, it's their channel, it's their media, it's their shows, it's them, it's their stories, it's your people. And this is scary for me and humbling that we've already gotten here in only 8 months, that Parks and Rec departments are just like I saw Bitcoiners putting on our show as part of their daily routine, their coffee routine, playing in the background, listening to it, engaging, that kind of stuff. We're already here where Parks and Rec people, the people of Parks and Rec, the departments of Park and Rec, are finding that this is where their story is. This is where their education is. This is where the masters are speaking. And the Daily Parks and Rec show and all its family of shows are just giving a platform for them to tell their story, share their passion, share their expertise. Um, and it's happening. I literally last night at 9 o'clock got three LinkedIn messages from directors saying exactly that, that they are incentivizing their Parks and Rec maintenance people, aquatics people, programming people, assistant directors to just watch our show and listen to the masters. Not to me, not to listen to. Please don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm figuring this out as I go. I'm still learning very much on how to create good, solid content. I can tell you it's a heavy lift just on distribution. When I say distribution, just because you make a great piece of content, now you got to get it out to the market. You got to edit it, you got to package it, you got to wrap it up, and then you got to post it. Like that's a never-ending learning process. Has nothing to do with Parks and Rec, but everything to do with creating media. And so I think that's what I'm becoming more of an expert on. But in the field of Parks and Rec, in the field of urban forestry, in the field of therapeutic recreation, I humbly submit myself to the community to be able to speak at a high level on that. And my job is just to invite them onto the show, encourage them to tell their story, give them a platform, and make it easy for them, and then package it and get it out to the world. And that therein lies our mission. And another one, and I'll play this commercial right here. This one's for the facilities maintenance show. The facilities maintenance show is probably going to give birth to 4 or 5 standalone shows in and of itself, because there's so much that goes on in facilities maintenance. Like project management, there could easily be a show just on managing projects through, through the through government, through municipalities, through the public sector. Um, and I think, I don't know if master planning kind of fits in facilities maintenance because it's kind of on the leadership side too. But I know people in facilities maintenance and project management participate a lot in the process of making a good master plan. But urban forestry, golf course maintenance, irrigation, the study of grass and how it grows and green spaces and maintaining playgrounds and maintaining all the different trades from electricians, plumbers, HVAC. I mean, there's so much inside of facilities maintenance. It really just 4 days a week cannot cover those topics. So that's going to spin off a lot of shows. Anyway, this is our version 2.0, which was recently released. I want to say last week we made our version 2 of the facilities maintenance. I should I should go find the old one because the progression between version 1 of facilities maintenance and version 2 is a stark difference. But anyway, let me play this one.
Behind every thriving park, every safe playground, every event-ready field, there's a team working before sunrise and long after sunset. This is Facility Maintenance, the only show created for and by the unsung heroes of parks and recreation. Brought to you by DPRS Media Co, where real work gets real recognition. From restrooms to rec centers, HVAC to turf tech, we go beyond the job site into the heart of operations that keep our communities moving. Our mission? To elevate maintenance teams through stories, solutions, and shared experience. Our vision? A world where every facility crew is seen, valued, and fully supported. Each episode features operators, innovators, and leaders, sharing tools, tech, and tactics that make the impossible look easy. Facility maintenance isn't just a job. It's purpose, it's passion, and now it's a show. Facility Maintenance, where tools meet purpose, where work becomes legacy.
Man, I love that. Like I said, as a master electrician, when I was a young man, I know how hard these men and women work to keep our facilities looking good, in shape, repairing them, building them. It's such a heavy lift. And by many of my directors, when I asked them, approximately half of the money and the manpower and the effort goes into that side of the equation. And these are really the unsung heroes. When you do a special event, when you do a good baseball league, those are the ones that get a little bit more of the praise. But what you don't see is the bathroom facilities working, the grass being, all the unwanted thorns and thistles and the dirt being graded and the irrigation and the fence line and the parking lot and the signage. And it's just, that all just kind of happens magically on its own, right? Not really. You've got an army of people that are maintaining these facilities, and the level of expertise and mastery and the craftsmanship that happens every single day is just nationwide, is just staggering. And as I've really gotten with these people, even though I was a master craftsman myself, just as an electrician, I had no idea about what goes into maintaining a park or a green space. And a great example of this, I've said this before on the show, I was talking with Garrett James, who has worked in golf course maintenance and is now maintaining a beautiful facility in Texas. I said, hey, let's just do a show on grass, on the study of grass. Was it agronomy, or I forget the scientific term for the study of grass? And we can talk about, the dirt and watering and irrigation and cutting and weeding and pesticides and fertilizers and chemicals, and maybe even talk about robotics. We'll make a whole show about it. And I was, I thought we were going to do this in an hour. We still need to do a follow-up, Garrett, by the way. We started talking about it, and I said, all right, so what's the first thing you want to consider? And he said, well, we need to consider soil and irrigation and water. So we started just kind of talking about water at the beginning of the show. And 52 minutes later, we're still talking about water. We talked about irrigation. We talked about where you get your water from. Many of these golf courses are watered from a lake on the golf course, so they don't have to pull water from the local supply. We talked about drainage. We talked about runoff. And that's just water. We didn't even get to talk about all the other things. And that's when it kind of dawned on me, if we're going to do a good job in this, we really need to do multiple shows, bring on all the craftsmen in all of these different areas to just talk about maintaining the turf, just turf maintenance. And then had the exact same thing happen to me with urban forestry. I was thinking the city just went and planted some little twigs in the median, walked away, and the tree just kind of took care of itself. I could not have been further from the truth. As I started to talk to more of these master arborists that help cities and that work directly with the cities, employed by the cities that maintain these tree canopies, these tree inventories that are 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 trees that have to be visited every couple of years, $1,000, couple $1,000 per site, per tree, to get the right fertilizer, to get it pruned within those first 5 years, to maintain it, to keep it, all these things that will attack your trees. And then how valuable trees are to a community from looking at from a heat map. And I didn't even understand these terms, by the way. Granted, I live in South Louisiana. We've got tons of beautiful oak trees. The entire city of New Orleans and Baton Rouge are just shaded by oak trees, but I never appreciated the mastery and the craftsmanship and the education it took to do this well. You just walk under a gorgeous 300-year-old oak tree here on LSU campus a few blocks from my house or at Audubon Park, and you just take them for granted because you just think they're just doing it by themselves, not realizing there's an army of men and women chasing these trees around, getting them to look this way. And so that was just another great example of what we can do here. All right, so next, the pioneer himself, Mr. Aaron Locks. Love you, man. So glad we connected. That's the beauty of the internet and media, is you just get to meet some of the best people in this industry. So ran into Aaron Locks, 40 years in the industry, owner of the National Academy of Athletics. And we just brainstormed and said, let's make a show just on youth sports, called it Youth Sports Mastery. Here's the logo. Every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Logo is there. There we go. So let me go ahead and play that real quick. Now, I think this promotion for this show has maybe a week left in it, maybe 2 weeks. So this is this is some of the last times you'll be seeing version 1 here. So here's our version 1. They're hard at work building version 2, which the great thing about iterating, and I'll talk about iterations and having a tight feedback loop with your community to build quality content as soon as I play this. But let me go ahead and play this first. This is our version 1. Here we go.
At DPRS Media Co, we don't just create content. We elevate community through storytelling. Now, we're proud to introduce the newest addition to the family. Welcome to Youth Sports Mastery, the podcast where champions are shaped, not just on the field, but in life. Hosted by National Academy of Athletics founder Aaron Locks. Youth Sports Mastery dives deep into how youth sports can empower kids, strengthen communities, and build leaders. From coaching culture to recreation strategy, and from player development to parent impact, every episode brings game-ready insight from the people making it happen. Youth Sports Mastery goes live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. And powered by DPRS Media Co. This is where purpose meets play.
All right, so play hard, have fun. That's their slogan, and I love it. I have learned so much about youth sports. I was a college athlete myself. I say that. I was a cheerleader, but University of Kentucky national champions, go Wildcats, of 1997. But I was the world's worst baseball player, basketball player, you named it. I was really good at badminton, but I was not going to win any scholarships for baseball, for sure. I couldn't hit the ball to save my life. But I never forget Chris Ciani was my baseball coach when I was, I must have been like 7 or 8. and there was not a ball that was thrown at me that I didn't miss. But one time I hit it, and he ran with me around the whole baseball field. It was one of the highlights of my life as a childhood, and it's where I really started to understand, you know what, I can do this. And I might not be good at, being able to spot the ball. I couldn't just see the ball very well, pretty much blind when I was my whole life, pretty much. Um, but I learned so much, and I had such a great time. And I would hate for all these kids that, like myself, to be excluded and not have a place to play baseball and have a team to be on and have coaches, if they only cater to people who were going to get play baseball in high school or college and get a scholarship, or maybe even make it to the pros, because that would leave out most of us. Most of our children would never get to play sports if the qualifying factor was you had to be good enough to get a college scholarship. And so Aaron helps cities, counties, Parks and Rec Department run sports programs. He provides the coach that and he owns a business that does this. And so he has a little franchise that he's got all of the programming written out. It's training. They have some of the best coaches in America, and they partner with Parks and Rec departments to be able to help run the programs they can't run, don't want to run, or maybe they just want to maintain the facilities, and they hand it all over to Aaron, and he runs the whole show, and he has been doing an amazing job at it. So, shout out to my boy Aaron. I wish him all the love and success in everything that he's doing, because if Aaron succeeds in what he's doing, we're going to have some amazing sports programs that may not get run because the cities just don't have the bandwidth to be professionals and the best at every single sport that could be played. And he runs even summer camps, all within the facilities of Parks and Recreation. And so I love his concept. He was a great partner for us to create the Youth Sports Mastery show on Thursdays, and really provide. And he really doesn't. I tell Aaron, he doesn't talk enough about the business of what he does. He usually just talks only about coaching and what youth sports do for a child, and officiating, and talks to athletic directors. And I say he's got a network of some of the best people in youth sports in America, and he gets them on the show weekly. But I really think people should take a look at using his company to provide sports and programming in areas that they don't want to do or can't do or don't have the bandwidth to do, but have idle facilities sitting around, and let him come run some of that for him. So shout out to Aaron Locks, and a great example of what we can do to produce great content and give a platform for the experts to speak on those topics like youth sports. Okay, now, one of the reasons I need some help, because there are some shows we're going to produce that there's just no way to get a vendor or money around this. No one's going to make money on the Young Professionals Network. It's something that we do because it's the right thing to do. And so all of us as a collective group of vendors that participate in building the media company for Parks and Recreation are going to collectively contribute to create a good show for the young professionals. And so who are the young professionals? Okay, so these are like high schoolers and college kids who are coming into this industry. They love it. They grew up in it. This is what they want to do. Their parents did it. They're still in education. They're doing internships. They're refereeing. They're your part-time workers. They're working right now in Parks and Rec. There's a massive population of high school and college age part-time workers that are helping Parks and Rec do what they do. And honestly, Parks and Rec could not be Parks and Rec without its part-time employees and seasonal employees. They are the lifeguards. They are the concession stand workers. They are the coaches. They are the referees. They are the camp counselors. And some of the interns, they're throwing right into the mix of running special events, of doing marketing. They are a heavy, heavy lift. And there are more part-time employees, 2 to 3 times more part-time employees than there are full-time employees. And this is a very young crowd. And so this is our young professionals. And that's only the beginning. For the second group, the third group, if the first group was the high schoolers, part-timers, camp counselors, lifeguards, stuff like that, college kids in that same group, maybe pursuing a degree in Parks and Recreation. The third group is going to be people who this is your first 1 to 5 years in Parks and Rec. And you are just like drinking from 5 fire hoses at the same time, trying to understand everything that is Parks and Recreation. And one thing I love about Parks and Rec is they throw you into the middle of it. You will, at 22 years old, you'll get assigned a senior center, and they'll just hand you the keys, walk away, and give you a little bit of guidance, and then they got to go face their own fires. And I've got some crazy hysterical stories that I've had on this show where you get assigned a senior center and you just make it happen. Ask for advice, call people, network, try to figure out how to do it, because everybody is just swamped at Parks and Recreation. There's so much to do and not enough manpower and money to do it. And so you get the opportunity to lead and to build yourself as an individual, I think, better than any industry on earth. You get the opportunity to lead, you get the opportunity to fail, you get the opportunity to work with real people, make a difference in your community, leave a legacy, and it's from day one on the job. And to me, it's the best place to build yourself as a person, to build yourself as a leader, to build yourself as a team member. And you're not going to have to wait till you retire and you've made all your money to give back and make a difference and leave a legacy and impact people. You're going to do that from the second you go on it. Really easy, but even as a part-timer, but definitely once you go full-time, man, the responsibilities are coming your way. And I don't think anybody in Parks and Rec would disagree with me on that because they've all experienced it. So that's kind of like our third group. And I think this is where the Young Professionals Network was born. It was born in this third group, not the high schoolers or college kids that are doing internships, but the third group who is, this is my first 1 to 5 years of in Parks and Rec, and what the heck is going on? Oh my gosh, this is overwhelming what's accomplished and the variety of things that have to be done to run a Parks and Rec department. And so that was kind of the original start of why we need a Young Professionals Network. I met Gabby Vera. She was one of the shining stars in Parks and Rec, and she introduced me to it. She immediately introduced me to another all-star, Molly Keys, and they're like on the opposite sides of the country. One's in Nevada, one's in, I think, Molly, where are you from? Connecticut? No, Maryland? Somewhere up in the Northeast. She's the president of this year for YPN. And that's where I just met all these the people of the Young Professionals Network. And then I also discovered that many states have started their own chapters of young professionals. A lot of the big states, of course, went first, but I think in a few years, every state in America is going to have a Young Professionals Network for that state, plus the national Young Professionals Network. And I was like, whoa, we need to make a show just on that. So that's our Friday show, and it's kind of hit or miss. We've had, I think, maybe 7 or 8 of those shows. We've had a lot of other experts, and so we're developing that show. That's not a show that's, I'm going to have a vendor that caters to young professionals. So that's just going to have to be a charitable gift that we give, knowing that we're investing in the future leaders of, you're not going to get a sale on the Young Professionals Network because these people are not necessarily in leadership positions, although some of them are. Shout out to Molly and Gabby, they're running departments. So certainly if they can, give you some work, they would, or have the ability to have the purchasing power, the decision-making ability rather. But that's a show that I think we're just going to do as a community of content creators for the Parks and Rec community that we want to build for them. All right. So then what are the other groups is interns. So if you are an intern if you are a mentor, so group number 4 for the Young Professionals Network, if you are a mentor, hold on, I forgot to put up the logo. The logo is a new logo. There you go. It used to be different. This is our version 2 logo. So that is the YPN Young Professionals Network logo. And I can't remember. My brain's going 1,000 miles an hour. Did I even play this? Yeah, I think I did. Okay, so Young Professionals Network. So group 4 is going to be professors, mentors, teachers that are they're helping educate and welcome and work with this group of this population. So that's our third group. And our 5th group, and this is a rare group. When I say rare, like 1 in 100, maybe 1 in 200 Parks and Rec departments across America have a solid every semester. We get an intern and we, you know, let them experience Parks and Recreation. They shadow them. Molly Keys runs a fantastic one. There's 7 or 8 others that I found, but if I've interviewed 400 Parks and Rec departments, well, maybe not 1 in 100, maybe like 1 in 50, 1 in 70, have anything resembling a strong internship program. And I've talked to some big ones, like with 600 and 700 employees, and they don't have an internship program. And then I've talked to some like Molly, who has like 20, 30 employees, and she has an amazing internship program. Of course, she is the president of YPN. But that is a rare group. So if you happen to have an internship program, oh, and how can I leave out Henry County? They're like the masters of, sorry, sorry, JP and Thomas. They run an amazing internship program. So Thomas is just slaying it over there, getting wave after wave after wave, and so much of their staff come from their internship program. So I'm going to have Thomas on the show just to talk only about the power of running a solid internship program to just recruit some of the best talent from your local colleges and work with professors and get them in the door, have a great experience, and then they go on to do great things. And many times they stay and do great things right in your Parks and Rec department. And so those are the 5 groups that we're targeting for the Young Professionals Network. Again, that's not going to get commercially funded. The Daily Parks and Rec show is going to commercially fund that one, because that is, I think, very important to invest in the future of Parks and Recreation and those leaders coming from, like I said, high school, colleges, first 1 to 5 years, the teachers and mentors, and then the actual internship programs that we have. That's all on our Friday show, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. I can't believe I've already, yapped along for an hour here. So anyway, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and play the partners promotion. So if you're a director and you have a great vendor that you are proud of, you've been working with, they do a great job, they've produced a great master plan, or you use a software that is indispensable, whether it's a workflow software or a project management software, or helping you find different population software, like software companies, I think, make great partners for us. Also, I want to create a technology in Parks and Rec, a software in Parks and Rec show, highlighting how we can use software to do our jobs better in Parks and Recreation. So that's a good one. I'm also looking for someone in finance and master planning as well. Of course, urban forestry, we're building that one out right now. We've got a few others in the works, but I think we've kind of brainstormed with our little brain trust in the back. Shout out to Sevi Ghosh and Paula and a couple of the others that are helping us build this thing out. I think we've identified 20 shows that could be created. And lastly, before I play the partners thing, all right, so we're going to start running reruns, replays. So we have got some shows that are in the early shows, like, show 50 or show 100, that were just phenomenal. They were just, I was so sad to know that this thing might get lost in the library. And so I had an idea when I was in Utah. Shout out to everybody in Utah, man. Y'all have a gorgeous state. I just spent a week over there. I was like, why don't we go get these old shows, repurpose them, repackage them, put some of these commercials inside of them and stuff like that, and replay them in the evening. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to start running some of our old shows to replay them again, because there was such valuable content in there. And so I think what we'll do is you'll see us kind of go live, but it's just going to be an older recording of some of the really good shows that we had. And I think we're going to start playing them at 5 p.m. and at 9 p.m. We'll probably just start the 5 p.m. show Eastern. And so then every 7 days a week. So we'll pick up our weekend audience. Not that any of you have any time on a weekend. Thanks to special events. So we'll probably, maybe not this weekend, but by next week, I think we'll be able to run a 5 p.m. show Monday through Sunday. And it's just going to be kind of like the best of. And we're going to kind of edit them down a little bit more and try to make them, package them a little bit better. And so we'll just have a good rhythm of continuing to get that content out there and holding it up. And that way these things can kind of live on in perpetuity. And when we have a great show, say around urban forestry or something, or master planning or therapeutic recreation, if we get, one of the top experts in therapeutic recreation to produce a great show, then you may find that show playing again a few months down the road on the nighttime show. And this way, much like in ESPN, we can create a truly 24/7 programming. And then, of course, we'll have our live segments, which is kind of what we're doing right now with all of our other shows. So that'll probably be launched. Like I said, give us a couple of weeks. Hopefully, we should get that knocked out in August as we're coming up on the end of July here. All right, so back to partners. If you are a company that wants to help create a standalone show in this industry about your specific part of this industry, please reach out to me. If you're a director and you're proud of a relationship, a longstanding relationship of a solid partner that does well and that you've been using to help you do what you do in Parks and Recreation, just send me their name on LinkedIn, help me get in touch with them, and we're going to offer them if they want to co-create a show with us. And so that's kind of all I have for y'all today. I'm going to close out with our little partners commercial. Again, this is our version 1, so give me some feedback on how we can improve it. We should have the final cut done by this weekend, next week. And then we've got another great one coming out for Youth Sports Mastery. We've got another great commercial coming out for what other show we're redesigning. We've got a couple others that we're redesigning and stuff as we iterate as quickly as possible. So, all right, so I'll be signing off. This is Craig LeBlanc, the Doorman. Thank y'all so much for the love and support that y'all been giving us to create this show. We're definitely going to keep going. We've got a strong team of 8 people doing this. I'm hoping by the end of this year, I might have an actual road crew that's a camera crew that can go to conventions and really capture the heart and the moment of what it is to attend an in-person live state or national convention so that we can get more and more people. I would love to double the population of people that attend all these state conventions and stuff. And so, by the way, if you're a vendor and you're not at these state conventions, you're really missing out. I spent a decade at these conventions, and the relationships I have, even though I'm not doing business with them, are still with me today. I still go. And as a matter of fact, most of these people are retired. So shout out to Doug. He was the president of Louisiana Parks and Rec Association up in Monroe. He's now retired from the Parks and Rec industry. We still hang out 5-6 times a year. We go to Mardi Gras. We go to St. Patrick's Day Parade. Shout out to Shonda Smith. I mean, there's so many Parks and Rec directors that are lifelong friends of mine that no longer have a commercial interest in the friendship, but the friendship is so strong. You take these relationships with you the rest of your life. So if you're not supporting your state conventions, you really should. You should consider this. You really get to meet them on a personal level, and if you can do business with them, great. Then it's a win-win. So I encourage every vendor out there in this community to sponsor a little $500 booth, pay your little fees, support their nighttime event, bring stuff for the auction, and support your local Parks and Rec community, because they do some of the best work. And this is where those people network and meet, and then take those friendships back to be able to use that network as a resource to do what they do in Parks and Recreation. All right, I'll go ahead and close it out. Craig LeBlanc, the Doorman with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I'll see y'all here again tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product? Growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion Parks and Rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move Parks and Rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.